Hi, good morning. We are going to recap our last lecture. So, this lecture is entitled Architectural Design Defined. So, before kayo mag-start na um, mag-aral ng architecture, these are some of the things that you have to take note or remember. So, here are the following. Bago ako mag-start, and again, this is just a review. I'm Architect Irene Shara Felix Pahela. I will be your Design 1 lecturer. So, una, what is design? Last meeting, you were able to define this in your own terms, but really, design means, alright, design is una, to create, fashion, execute, or construct. So, kung ang sagot mo dito ay drawings lang, it's very limited. Kasi when you say design, hanggang ma-construct or ma-accomplish yung design mo, yun yung ibig niyang sabihin. Another is to plan, devise for a specific purpose. So, planning, iisipin mo kung ano yung purpose niya, and then to sketch or to draw. So, these plans, this is the basis for a person or for other people, let's say contractors, to build what you envisioned. Design is also, ito yung pinaka-common meaning niyan, is a pattern or aesthetic. So, ito yung design na nakita mo, oy, gusto ko yung design yan. Ibig sabihin, gusto mo yung kulay or yung pattern. Ito yung pinaka-common examples na nakikita natin. So, sketching, planning. When you say plan kasi, hindi yung magdo-drawing ka ng plano. There's more to it. Pag-iisipan mo kasi yan bago mo i-translate into drawing or i-communicate into drawing. We can also apply design sa web design, pattern design, fashion design. Yan yung pinaka-common. Pero sa atin kasi, ang pinaka-core nung pag-aaralan natin is planning, paano mag-isip, and how to translate it into a sketch or a plan that is drawn on paper. So, yun. And then, susunod nating i-define. Okay. So, mag-start ka talaga. Ang process ng design, basically, is starting with the idea or a purpose. Kailangan may isip ka muna kasi you can't design from nothing. So, after ng idea, tsaka ka palang magpa-process ng design. So, depende ko anong profession mo, ganun din yung magiging process mo. So, this is what we are going to do for the next few weeks. And then, after ng design, you will have the product. So, para sa architecture, ang product na architecture is the building. Yun yung pinaka-final product niya. Sa ibang professions, it would be product design or a program, for example. So, yun. Pero sa atin, building ang product natin. Ano ang architecture? So, ito madami kayong ibig sabihin ng architecture. I believe madami kayong naiisip pagdating dito. Pero pinaka-common na naisip nyo probably is the course or the profession. So, alamin muna natin kung ano yung hindi architecture. Ito siguro narinig nyo na, and we have to correct yung mga connotations na to. Architecture is not madali lang. Ayan. Pag may nagsabi sa inyo madali lang ang architecture, maling-mali yun. Okay? So, it's one of the hardest courses in the world. It's one of the hardest professions to practice also. Drawing lang. Again, mali yung sinasabi na architecture pang drawing lang or drawing lang. Kasi, madaming branches or madaming task involved in architecture. So, malalaman nyo later on. Limited to drawings and plans, again, hindi. Kasi kasama ang construction sa architecture. Simply drawing a building So, again, mali ito kasi hanggang construction kasama tayo dyan. Only concerned about beauty, this is wrong kasi nga there is planning involved. So, pag-iisipan mo muna siya. Hindi tayo nag-aaral nito para pagandahin lang ang isang building aesthetically. Pag sinabi natin maganda, it means maganda for the wellness din ng gagamit. So, madami considerations para makapag-design tayo. Architecture is very different from engineering. Hindi sila pareho lang. Hindi ka nag-engineering, nag-architecture ka, pareho lang yun. Hindi pareho yun. Yan, siguro na na natin, medyo nabali na yung maling conceptions dito sa kurso na pinasok ninyo. So, baka na-realize ninyo bigla na, hindi pala ito yung this isn't what I initially thought. So, sana mabali yung maling paniniwala. Okay, ano ba talaga ang architecture? Architecture is the art or practice of designing and building structure. So, pag sinabi nating architecture, kasama yung pagde-design. After mo siya i-design, diretso sa pagbibuild. So, pati building involved tayo dyan. Kasi we have to make sure na yung dinesign natin masusunod hanggang sa i-build. Especially habitable ones. Pag sinabi nating habitable, kung saan nagre-reside ang tao or nagtatagal, pumapasok ang tao and actually does activities inside. For example, houses, offices, anything that is being used by people, nagsistay ng matagal ang tao, those are habitable buildings or habitable structures. Method or style of building. So, ma-identify natin ano yung different styles ng buildings. That can also be, yung term na architecture can also be used there. According to our law, the Architecture Act of 2004, architecture is the art, science, or profession of planning, designing, and constructing buildings in their totality, taking into account their environment in accordance with the principles of utility, strength, and beauty. So, hindi siya beauty lang or kailangan maganda yung buildings from the outside. It should be, pag sinabi natin utility, tama yung use o yung purpose niya, nagagamit siya according to its purpose. And then strength, hindi ka mag-aalala na kapag lumindol, bumagyo, bumaha, matutumba yung building mo or masisira. So, it's durable enough. Architecture is, himayin lang natin to, no? Art, science, or profession. So, combined art and science siya. So, in this course, mag-aaral kayo ng sciences and also art. When I say science, included na dyan yung math. Yes, may math po itong course na ito. And then, profession of planning. So, hanggang sa mag-graduate na kayo, makapasa kayo ng board exam. So, that is defined as architecture in its totality. Constructing buildings. So, when you design, kasama din ang architecture, kasama yung construction doon sa practice of architecture. So, we have architects who are full-time construction managers and project managers. Meron din tayong architects that are that are also consultants. So, madaming ways for us to practice architecture. Okay, so, pag sinuma natin, architecture is the product, the building, yung makikita na ninyo, yung itsura ng building, pag pumasok ka sa building, what you experience, that is architecture. Ano pa? Architecture throughout history. So, ito yung mga architectural styles that I've been talking about. You will also tackle this in history of architecture. And then, architecture is also the profession. So, nakikita natin dito, sketching, drawing plans, planning, process. And then the construction, also meeting clients, making deals. Yan, that's part of the professional practice. Architecture is also the professional. So here are some of the professionals that you will be able to identify habang nag-aaral kayo ng architecture. Architecture is also the education. So by now, medyo aware na kayo about the deadline. Deadlines yan. Normal sa atin yan, puro deadline. Kape. Medyo masa-stress ka ng konti. But that's part of your education. That's also part, hanggang magtrabaho kayo, ganyan yung scenario. So it's good na masanay kayo and you will be able to handle stress effectively. So isa yan sa mga training namin sa inyo. Kaya madami kayong deadline. So may difference ba between an architect and an engineer? So by now, siguro alam na ninyo yung differences, pero if hindi pa, ito yung major differences ng architect and engineer. So ito, sagutin nyo na lang on your mind muna. Pero this has been discussed last time. True or false? Engineers can do what architects do. Another thing, architects can do what engineers do. Binaliktad lang natin. True or false? So, ang totoo dyan, both statements may be true. So, pwedeng an architect, kaya niyang gawin. Kung ano ginagawa ng engineer, a specific engineer, kaya niyang gawin yung architect. Pwedeng totoo yan. But, ang keyword natin dito, and we have to really remember that an architect only has authority upon architectural design. Ganun din ng engineers. Sila yung may authority. The keyword here is authority according sa law natin. Kasi if we are going to encroach upon other people's profession, that is going to be illegal. Okay? So, ang architect can only practice architecture. Engineer can only practice engineering. So, this is the ideal and legal implications nung profession natin. And according sa law natin, yun yung piniprescribe that we do. Yun nga lang, merong iba na tumatawid ng professions. Pero, when we say authority, kasi kaming mga architects, mga pasado na sa board, meron ng selyo, meron ng once you sign a plan and you seal it, you have responsibility and liability over it, as well as authority. Okay, so later on, mas may intindihan nyo yan. Next. This is what I natatandaan ko to. This is something that I read from 100 Things I Learned in Architecture School na book. So, sabi niya dito, ni Matthew Frederick, an architect knows something about everything. An engineer knows everything about one thing. This is something that I've proven throughout the years. Kasi when you design for a specific individual, iba yung needs niya eh. For example, magdi-design ka ng, let's say, hospital. You have to know what doctors know. You have to know what nurses know. And you have to know what patients know. Kailangan alam mo yung behavior nila. You have to study yung task nila, how they do their job from day to day. So, lahat ng aspects ng ospital, the users of the hospital, the visitors of the patients themselves, kailangan mong aralin. Even yung practice ng mga doktor, kailangan mong aralin. And yung processes inside the hospital. So, yung knowledge na dapat alam ng isang architect, malawak. An engineer is a complete opposite. An engineer knows everything about one thing, mastery. So, if the engineer yung engineering that he practices is electrical. So, lahat dapat about electrical engineering alam niya. Lahat. It's focused on electrical engineering. Lahat ng innovations, lahat ng knowledge, nakafocus doon. Whereas an architect, palawak. So, mapapansin nyo yung expanse nung mga subjects that you have now. May history kayo, may math kayo. And you will even have engineering subjects. Bakit? Kasi we cannot be ignorant to what engineers do. Dahil kasama yan sa practice natin. So, matututo kayo then kung paano bumasa ng layout ng engineering, ng plumbing, ng structural, and even to make layouts of those. Pero again, I have to reiterate, ang authority sa kanila. So, they will have to authorize it and titingnan nila tama ba to or mali yung layout mo. Actually, once you do the initial layout, dadaan pa yan sa kanila and then they will have to check it and you will have to work with them pagdating doon para tama yung mai implement ninyo na design pag nag-construction na kayo, right? So, engineer knows everything about one thing and that is their profession. Yung entirety of their profession kailangan alam nila. So, that concludes our first lecture. I hope naging malinaw, and if you have any questions about this particular topic, just comment doon sa MS Teams natin, and I will try to answer as soon as I'm able. Okay?